What makes a good buyer's agent? So you've made the decision to buy a home and you want to start working with a real estate agent. What questions should you be asking? What should you be looking for in a buyer's agent? As always, I want to make it clear that my market is New York City, so of course my perspective is going to be based on how we do things here, but I believe the information here can be applied to anywhere in the country. So let's dig into this. What is the job of a buyer's agent? Why do you even need this person? Now, many people think that a buyer's agent's job is to show properties, to open doors, to write up offers if a buyer falls in love with a home. Those things are definitely part of the job, but they're actually a pretty small part of the job. A good buyer's agent should be two things. One, a high-level real estate consultant, and two, a project manager of sorts. Now, when I'm in the role of a buyer's agent, my relationship with my client really starts with the buyer consultation. This is an initial meeting. It could be a phone call, but I really prefer to be in person or at least over Zoom so we can be face to face and really be engaged with each other. I like to start by talking through the buyer's goals. What are their wants and their needs, their timeline, and of course their budget. The goal here is to get a sense of where the buyer is in their thought process and do a reality check. I want to know if their goals align with their timeline and their budget. Now, having done this for nearly 2 decades, I can quickly get a sense of whether the goal is realistic, or if we need to pivot and talk about a longer term plan that gets them to where they want to be. A buyer consultation is somewhat organic. I have a loose agenda to be sure, but we're really just getting to know each other. We're just getting comfortable, and there has to be room for the conversation to go in whatever direction it needs to. At this point, we haven't even decided if we want to work together yet, so it's really just a two-way interview as much as it is an information session. Now, after talking about the goals, the budget, and so forth, I take some time to talk through the buying process itself. What are the actual steps? What does the timeline look like? In New York City, this can vary from property to property. In my market, this is where the value of a buyer's agent becomes really clear. The buying process here in New York City is unique. It's different from everywhere else in the country. I'm not just saying that, it's really true. Closings can take months. There are a number of steps that have to happen at the right time and be handled correctly or the deal can fall apart. This is one of the most competitive markets in the country, and there's usually another buyer waiting in the wings. So there is very, very little room for error. A good buyer's agent will be a guide through the various stages of the transaction. And I find that it's at this point in the consultation that people start to understand what they're really getting into and why they really do need a professional to help them succeed. From there, we'll most likely talk about preparation. What are the next actionable steps that a buyer needs to take to prepare themselves for a search? To make offers and follow through to closing. Part of this preparation is putting a team together, and I'll spend some time talking about that. In any business, when you're faced with a complex project or a challenge, you put a team of experts together to get it done. Real estate's no different. A buyer's team will consist of several key players. A real estate attorney will handle the contract and provide legal perspective on the deal structure and any property issues or questions that might come up along the way. If the buyer's financing, a mortgage broker or banker will not only facilitate the loan, but can run different scenarios for different property types and give perspective throughout the process. A buyer's team might include a contractor or an architect if we're targeting properties that need renovation, a home inspector, an interior designer. It might include a financial planner. It really depends on what the situation is and what the buyer's goals are. We have to look at all that and put the team together that makes sense. Finally, the real estate broker, the buyer's agent, is the project manager, the team leader. Very, very important. When I'm a buyer's agent, I'm managing all of these parties, making sure everyone is communicating with each other and doing what they're supposed to do at the right time. From the outside, it looks like controlled chaos, but there's definitely a flow to it. And an experienced buyer's agent intuitively knows when and how to add pressure, and how to think 3 steps ahead to keep the deal moving smoothly. This is the behind-the-scenes work that, if I'm doing my job right, the buyer shouldn't even see. Any good agent will have their go-to real estate attorneys and mortgage professionals. As an aside, I recognize that in some places in the country, you don't use attorneys for real estate deals. In New York City, we have to, and they're a key part of the process and a crucial member of the buyer's team. Now, the attorneys and mortgage brokers who I recommend to my clients get my business because they have earned my trust. They've demonstrated time and time again that their level of professionalism, their work ethic, level of communication, and attentiveness are in line with how I do my business. Now, you can probably tell by now that I put a lot of emphasis on preparation. A good buyer's agent should. A good buyer's agent needs to. Number one, this is a competitive market and nice properties move very quickly. To succeed, a buyer needs to be prepared. A buyer should be prepared to make an offer and move a deal forward quickly and do that prep work before ever going out to look at properties. Number two, it would be very unpleasant to fall in love with a property and find out that you can't afford it or that you aren't in a position to transact. That's no fun, and it's a waste of everyone's time. A good buyer's agent will do the initial work to put their client in the best position to succeed and make the entire experience better. Every part of the buyer consultation is important, but this last part for me is absolutely crucial, and it's something that I think separates good agents from bad. I like to spend some time talking in broad strokes about expectations. People are really unhappy when their expectations are not met, right? And since we want this to be a positive and productive experience, I think it's really important to outline expectations at the beginning of the working relationship. So first, I'm going to outline my expectations of the buyer. At any given time, I work with a limited number of clients, intentionally because I spend a lot of time and energy on my clients. I'm really engaged in their process, and I want to make sure that they're also engaged. My expectations are pretty simple. They should have good communication. They should do any prep work I give them. They should follow open house and showing protocol, and they should recognize my hours of operation. And that last one, some people find pretty surprising, but it's really important. Any agent who tells you they're on call 24/7 is either insane or giving you a line of you know what. At the end of the day, we're all human, and humans need a day off. And I'm not going to serve you if I'm absolutely exhausted. There are always exceptions, but I think it's best to outline some ground rules. Finally, I want buyers to share their expectations of me, their agent. And they're sometimes caught off guard by this, and they don't always know what to say. They don't know what they should expect. They've never done this before, perhaps. It's totally okay, and I'm happy to list some common expectations that other buyers have. It's usually good communication, regular check-ins, punctuality, communication preference. Do they prefer text, email, phone call, hours of availability? If it's a couple, is there one point person? Stuff like that. It's okay if we don't have all the answers, but the point here is to let clients know that I want to do a good job for them. And I really care that their expectations are being met and that I genuinely want them to have a positive experience working with me. So hopefully that gives you some food for thought as you think about what to look for in a buyer's agent. As I've said many times, all real estate agents are not the same. It's just like any job or business. There are good agents and there are bad agents. But if you understand what to look for, you can make sure you're represented by a great agent who's going to help you succeed and make the buying process a positive experience. I'll see you guys out there.